It's me, Munch's McBully Band here today. I just did a third party only presidential election by myself, and I was thinking, oh, what if third party candidates from 1912 to 2000 were actually in this? So I have there's many candidates. Let me go over them first. So, don't mind this is kind of broken at the bottom. Theodore Roosevelt wins 155 electoral votes. Thurman 31, George Wallace 39, George Robert O. Falla 25, Harry Byrd 20, John Anderson 86, Ross Perot 133, and Ralph Nader 49. Now you see the reason I did this is because it was pretty interesting. What if it was just third parties and I used today's electoral map, and it was actually pretty cool to look at of how like each area would vote for. But let's talk about each one's background. So Theodore Roosevelt is was the president of the United States who served from 1901 to 1909. He only served for one full term, and the first term he served in was he actually did not was not elected. He was actually elected VP candidate, but basically what happened was that William McKinley, he was assassinated, and Theodore Roosevelt was sworn in. He was actually a pretty good president. He thought William Howard Taft would be a good replacement for him. It was like how today, like how back then Trump's mini me, but it's like Theodore's mini me. But basically, it did not happen, and it Taft, he didn't do the progressive things that Teddy wanted him to do. And Teddy got really mad. He was in the convention, right? The Republican convention in New York. So he can like run for the Republican nomination. He went in there. He got the most of the delegates. But since William Howard Taft controlled the convention, then that means he took some delegates. So actually, William Howard Taft would win the nomination. Teddy got mad, and basically, William Howard Taft rigged the election, the primaries, and then Theodore Roosevelt was the only third party candidate to get a bigger popular vote than a Republican or a Democrat and get more electoral votes. And basically, if Teddy did not run, William Howard Taft would have won the election. But anyway, there's Strom Thurmond. He ran in 1948, and he was governor of South Carolina. He was a state senator up until his death in the year at his age of 100. And he lived a long life, and then he formed the Dixiecratic Party, actually, aka States' Rights Dixiecrats. So then there's George Wallace, who's the governor of Alabama, and basically he ran for president in 1968, but lost, but did pretty fine. And then there's Robert La Follette, who was a progressive, not the same progressive party Theodore Roosevelt was in. He actually was against the Theodore Roosevelt's progressive party. So he ran in 1924 as his own progressive party. He did not win, but he did pretty fine and won the state of Wisconsin. Then there is Harry Byrd, who was unapplauded elector in 1960. He lived in Virginia, and then I don't know why they chose him as a third party candidate. Maybe because they did not like Kennedy or either candidate. Then there's John Anderson. John Anderson he was born in Illinois, I think. Actually, he lived in Illinois, and he ran for president in 1980 because he did not win the nomination at the time for the Republicans, and Reagan won that nomination. He won in third place, getting 7% of the popular vote, and he did pretty fine. Then there's Ross Perot, which he was a businessman, and he was like the early version of Donald Trump, and he was trying to make America great again. Then there's Ralph Nader, who was He lived in Connecticut. He ran in 2000 and other elections. He started running in 1996, but whatever. He was a third party candidate and did pretty fine in 2000. And yeah, he was pretty liberal. But sorry, this is crazy. How you're looking at this map, it's interesting, and like how it's like the South. It goes to these southern states go to the Dixiecratic candidates, like the more southern candidates, and at the same time in the North, there's these guys. Teddy Roosevelt and Robert F. Follett. They're both progressives, but remember, not the same progressive party. There's independents and like I mean, this region makes sense. And yeah. So yeah. If you like this video, like and subscribe, please. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Bye.